Hello everybody, welcome to Colorful Code. Today in open case, as a front-end developer, we will need to create a filter to filter out the data to render it on our web page. This is just an example, like all our data is under the right under here, and what we and the data will shows according to our filter condition as it is now. As you can see, if we select the saber, and it will show the content of saber, and if I select radian, and then it will show the radian from here. So this is just a very complicated case that I created before, and today I am just going to show the very simple case how to create such kind of filter. So we will create a whole new Next.js. In this case, in this example, I will use the Next.js, which is a very popular framework based on the reactjs. Let's get into code first. Okay, let's clean up the terminal first, and we will create a whole new project here. Probably we firstly create a new project directory, dir, let's call it filter demo, and we get into the filter demo directory, and then we can create a new Next.js project, and it might take some time. We name it filter demo, and it may take up to like 2-3 minutes, depends on your computer computing power. For me, it takes like probably up to 1 minute or something. And once it is done, just give it some time. Okay, once it is done, we will be able to see there is a new project folder here. We can see into it, and now we just check if it is working fine by running the yarn run dev and get into the localhost 3000, and as you can see, boom, here it is the boilerplate created by Next.js, but we don't need those things. We get now we just create a new Visual Studio code for this project. Okay, here it is, and we get into the page folder, and there is index, and then this boilerplate represent, this code here represents the page here, and then we don't need this, right? We just delete all this thing and then create a new fragment here, and then let's see if it is working. Okay, we need to run it again by yarn run grid. Okay, and then refresh this page to see if it is taking effect. Okay, now it's empty, meaning we have our change is taking effect. Okay, now we are going to create our own filter, right, as we just mentioned in the very beginning. Firstly, we need to have a data structure of our data to fill out. Okay, in this case we might just create a simple user database like this, and we have the data will have a name which is string type, and we have a score. Just imagine that is a score, the payload for the elementary school, or not like at the school, not elementary, and the age, because we are going to have an age which is a number. Okay, and we just create a dummy database which called data, and it will be a user array type. And now we just simply create like many users here, from Alice to probably Eric. Sorry, we should make it an array instead of the object. Okay, now we have our dummy database here, and next we are going to have a option, right? Here it is our option. We need to create and kind of option type, which is the option type, and in which there are three fields. First one value, the second one label. The label is going to be shown as the option label, and then the third one is the selecting, meaning that if this option is selected or not. Okay, now the second step is we are going to create a state, which we probably use score to filter, right? So we can filter the score of each student. Okay, and then we use state, and then the use state, the score filter will be a type of options, and we will need to create the kind of option for it, right? Because there are different kind of there are some options to let user to select on the website. For example, if user select all, it will show all the data on our website, and if users select over 60, and then it will show those users who have the score over 60, and if they select less than 60 option, and then the web page will only show those users who have less than 60 score. Okay, that's what we are going to do. And then, very importantly, we are going to create another state which is display in user, and set display in users, and use state, and in this case we will have iUser, and initial state will be empty array. That's what we need, I believe. Oh no, we need one more thing. We need the all users, right? Set all user equal to user state, and it will be exactly the same as displaying user. The reason why we need this is that normally we will need to fetch the user from our database or from some API or some query asynchronously. But in this case, even though we have this one, the dummy database here, but normally we will make it like as close to Rail as possible. So of course the first step of our application is fetching all users data, right? We are going to use useEffect. And only in the very beginning of our page being rendered. Okay. So we will going to do in here. We probably do. Usually we're going to go get the data through API or some other queries, but in this case we have a dummy database, so we use that like this, and then now we have the all users, right? Okay, once we have the all our user, we need to have our field filter function to filter out those data which need to be shown on our web page. So let's create a filter function. Not this function filter. Oops. Function filter, and okay, very easily we firstly create our selected score range, which is this score filter.find. We check through all the the score option, and then check if it is selecting. If yes, we are going to get its value, and then exactly the same thing for the no, we only have this, and then we will create the constant new user, right? new users equal to all users, and then we are going to filter it by checking if its score is in the range of the selected score. One. So here, as you can see here, the 0 and 1 meaning here, right? So as long as users select one, either one of this option, and then we will need to check if the filter out those user which has the score between those values. Okay, that's what we are doing. And next stage is that we need to set displaying user as a new user. Okay, that's it. And as you can see now, we have already created the filter, but we don't use it yet. So when should we use it? Okay, of course we need to use it when user select either one of the options, right? So we need to create another effect. We created under this one, useEffect, and in this case we will need to trigger this useEffect when users select either one of the filter. Okay, and then what should we do is filter those displaying users. Okay, that's what we need to do. And then next one, the easy one, we need to create the HTML thing. We just put the score filter, right? Score filter, and then the filter option, we just display the filter option that we made, right? The score filter, and the key. Remember, it is very important to put the key here because it is the convention of the reactjs, and well, the content will be only the S level. Not D is key. Okay, and then we create another tag to show our result. Okay, here it is. The result will be displayed in users, and we looking through all this. Oops, we need to put the key here as well, and the content here we put the like username is the name of the data, the each student, and the age of the student, and then the score of that student. Okay, let's see if it is working. Wow, as you can see, we have our filter and then we have the result tag, but it doesn't have any result. Why? Well, let's see. Set all users and filter all user. Let's see if we click all, it doesn't make any change. So we might need to, well, because the displaying users here has the initial value of empty array, and there is nothing that we can trigger to filter our displaying user and then to fetch all those filtered user from our old user array, right? So in this case, what I can think of is something like set displaying user. If we do it like this, it will, oops, see that data, it will have data here, but anyway, we don't need this thing for now. We just delete it for now, because we are going to use the filter function. We are going to let user to select the filter, and then he or she will be able to see the result here. So in the initial state, it is okay to be empty, and then as long as user select each either option here, and then the result shows here. But for now, even though we click the option, it doesn't take any effect. The reason is that we don't really do anything in this filter button, right? Let's make it a button. Let's make it more visually like a button, like this. Okay, just you can see here it is like a button. Okay, but it doesn't take any effect. Okay, it doesn't take any effect when we click the button, because we not yet do the unclick function to let us filter the result. Now we are going to do this. The result, okay, and here we are going to, as long as user click either this filter option in the filter, we are going to create a oops option and if the well if the s mean a score, right? But this okay, let's make it more clear. So we call it well, let's just put it like the same as s the oops s the label equal to the option the label. If it is the case, we will return we will let this option as the selecting option. Otherwise, it will be it will be the unselected option. That's it. Okay, let's see if it is working. Whoa, cool. Now as you can see, it is working fine. If we select all and then it shows all user, if we select the over 60 and then it shows those users who have the score over 60, and then if we click the less than 60 and then it shows these two users who has the very low score less than 60. That's what is what we want to, what the result we expected, right? Okay, and it is good. It is pretty much what we want to do, but we can make it easier by using useMemo. We are using the useEffect now, right? But you might realize that we need to create a display in user, and then we change the displaying user by set display in user inside this useEffect. And then once the user select the option inside the filter, and then it will trigger the useEffect, and then the useEffect will trigger the filter function here to set the displaying user. It is kind of difficult to read, right? So we just simply change it by so-called the probably displaying users with memo, and then we are going to use the useMemo React hook, and then it is quite similar as the useEffect, and then it's the same, like we need to add the dependency, and then it is the same dependency because we use the when users select select the score, the filter, the option inside the filter, and then it will change this score filter. So the score filter, once score filter change, and then the use memo will be triggered. So what should we do when the use memo is triggered? Of course, it is the here the same as the filter function. So we copy this code here and then pass it in here. It's exactly the same. And then we need to finally return the new users. That's all. Then we just replace this display in user to the display in user with memo to see if it is working. Let's refresh. Okay, now it is working exactly as before. That is what we expected. So now we do not need this displaying user use state hook. We do not need the filter anymore, and then we do not need the use effect anymore. What we need is only the use memo. That's pretty cool, right? Much more easier. And then we accomplish exactly the same thing with easier and simpler and much easier to read. Okay, so that's it for today. If you like this video, please click like or subscribe. Thank you. So talk to you next time. Bye bye.